Awkwardly Awesome Podcast, episode number 41. I help people navigate through an imperfect life and do their best at it. Today, I'm speaking of best. Today, I'm so thrilled to have two amazing guests. Ron and Arlene and Ron Klein. I've known Ron and Arlene for many years, and one of the first things that struck me about them was their kindness. And it's merely icing on the cake because they are super successful. So I'm so excited to introduce you to them. But first things first, the intro. The intro, did you like that? The intro. Okay.
Today's guest, Arlene and Ron Klein.
Hey, let me tell you a little bit about Arlene and Ron. Arlene is an accomplished author, poet, and editor who celebrates animals and guides people in developing stronger bonds with their own fur babies, with their own animals, fur babies, yeah, pets, cats, dogs, fur. Okay, you get the point. Juan describes himself as an ordinary man who accomplishes extraordinary things. One of these many extraordinary things happens to be the magnetic strip on the back of the credit card, like something we all use pretty much every day. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for one, who also created computerized systems for real estate, multiple listing services, voice response for the banking industry, and bond quotation and trade information for the New York Stock Exchange. So without further ado, let me bring on Arlene and Ron. Hey.
Hello. How are you?
I'm
you for that
wonderful.
Nice introduction. That was very nice, Jason. That was great.
I'm wonderful, and it's such a good sign that I can talk to you today, because that means the hurricane wasn't too bad.
A little wet, a little disruptive. Like I say, we're not normally with our bookshelves behind us because we can't get in the office, and even the pussycat can't get into the room where her litter box was. So everything's kind of moved around here, but we wouldn't have missed this for the world.
We make adjustments.
We're right. We make adjustments. We work with
it. We fit it in.
Thank you. At least I'm glad you still have 4 walls around you.
That's right.
Let me check.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't from the roof. It's from the outside walls, and it's seeping in somehow, and they're trying to find it. But you know what? Right now, you live in the moment. So right now, we're with you, Jason, and we're not going to worry about it. They're going to have to take care of it. It'll be fine.
We're dry. Everything's dry.
Right, yep. We're dry. We're dry. So, listen, I want to ask you because, you know, you and I talked, and we talked about years ago when we talked about different, and Ron said to you, you're perfect, Jason, because you're smart, daring, and different. And then you said, yeah, like the pinky and the thumb. And here you are with the degree in poetry. I just write it, but I don't have a degree in it. But here you were. You came up with the title, The Pinky and the Thumb. Shall we read them the poem?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay, I'm going to read it. Okay, so Jason titled it and I wrote it. And, but, our thoughts were all there together. 5 fingers we have, each has a job. The pinky is perfect when you hobnob. The thumb is needed to turn a knob and also great for pushing a fob. 2 fingers so different yet much alike. The thumb is chubby, the pinky is a spike. Just like people who are not the same, everyone is unique in their claim to fame. Every human is special in their own way. That's a wonderful thing, I have to say. We can love each other. Our differences let's embrace. That would make the world a better place. So let's not discriminate. Let's agree to disagree. Have respect for everyone, whether he or she is different than thee. Each day we can learn something new, even from the pinky and the thumb. Oh, how true.
That is fantastic.
It's such a beautiful poem, and it's so important at this time when there just seems to be a lot of disagreement going on, and
A lot of disagreement going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for
But
sure.
it makes so much sense. Just to be different is fine. It's wonderful. It's what makes the world go round. If we were all the same, it would be pretty boring, right? We wouldn't be that interesting.
it definitely would. Speaking of difference, let's talk about retirement for a sec. Are you both playing bingo every day and golfing and?
No.
No, I don't play
No.
bingo.
No. And we do live in a senior community. In fact, I had to pull up everything out of my office that I needed. So here's our beautiful building that was just impacted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's unfortunate. But yeah, we're 3 buildings in here and we're a clubhouse and there's a lot of community. And I respect those that want to play bingo and want to do all these other things. We choose not to do that. We're busy still with purpose. I'm not as involved with the animals as I was because I'm not out in the ring showing dogs anymore. All the dogs went to heaven, and now we have a cat. And but my heart is in it forever, as far as to be the voice for those that don't have a voice. So I still work for all the causes. I'm not sitting on big boards anymore as I was before and traveling all over the United States, but I work from afar, and their welfare and their health are just key to me. It's just part of my being and doing. And I'm right here at Ron's side. I'm sort of back in a corporate world again with him, and that's all good too. I'm also his chauffeur because he's not driving anymore because his eyesight is not real good anymore. So,
well, and it helps tremendously because it enables me to do what I want to do and be productive and be creative. And Arlene is my eyes, she's my driving, she's my hearing in a lot of things.
I'm chief cook and bottle washer.
Yeah, my hearing is starting to go now. I have a little bit of a problem that I'm trying to get corrected. So it works. She's a tremendous asset. And we've been together for a while, so it works out.
62 years in September.
62 in September.
Come September.
Continuous years.
Continuous years. So
yeah, no stopping and starting.
It all works. But of course, I'm much younger than he is by 5 years.
5 years. 5 years. Like on my hand, my pinky and my thumb.
So what's the importance of people having purpose in life? It's in many ways life is so busy and it's easy to kind of just go with the flow and drift through, but what do you both think
Some
is the
days,
importance of having purpose?
well, some days life gets in our way, like a day like today, because I turned around and it was 3 o'clock. Where did this day go? I mean, we have had men crawling all over here, moving stuff out. And it was like, oh, you know what? We'll move on with this. Purpose. If we didn't have purpose, I don't know. I don't know how to
We'd
answer
be
that.
concentrating on our
Our aches and pains.
aches and pains and
Yeah.
impediments. And really those things, you know, as you get older, parts wear out. I always tell everybody I used to go for an oil change every 10,000 miles. Now I go every 5,000 miles because I'm older, so I have to pull more maintenance. But everybody has a problem.
Nice. I like that.
I mean,
you have to have purpose.
you have to have purpose and fit it in.
In our viewpoint, you have to have purpose. You have to be able to get up every morning and say, I'm here for a reason, and I'm going to work towards that reason. So whether, I mean, he's on to all new inventions, you know that, and things are moving along, and still a managing director at 86 years old of his company. So that's kind of amazing. But we still find time for everything else. I mean, the pandemic changed a lot of things because we couldn't go certain places. Otherwise, we're at the orchestra, we're at the theater, we're you know, life is what it is, and it's what you're comfortable with. This is what we're comfortable with. On the days when we do nothing, for whatever the reason,
It's boring.
oh my gosh,
Boring.
I just fall asleep in a chair and so does he. That's being old.
Yep.
That's old. And we don't want to be that.
Yeah,
We don't want to be that.
to put yourself in idle and turn the motor off is no good.
Not good.
It's no good
Not
because
good.
something else will set in. But what's so important is to have an open mind to be able to learn something new every day. And we're both exposed to new things
And
through
young
the
people.
news and young people. And we share that amongst ourselves. I learned so much from Arlene all these 62 years. She learns from me. So we trade ideas and we learn things, and it makes life worth living because everybody has a mission, a vision, and a purpose. The mission is pretty easy to define. It's what you do, how you enhance it, what you do with your life. And then the vision is, where do you want to take it? You know, do you want to take it to the ultimate, or what is your goal? And then the purpose, that's the most difficult thing to define. That's something you really, when you ask somebody what's their purpose, if they can give that to you right away, it's pretty rare because that's something you have to think about. And once you think about it, it doesn't have to be associated with business. It doesn't have to be associated with anything specific. It's all about life and where you are in life and how you want to contribute. We're here for such a short period of time. What do you want to leave? In other words, what do you want to, some people just want to build a family and have a wonderful family and be the best parent and friend in the world. That's wonderful. That's their purpose, but at least they can define it. So it's important to be able to have a purpose. Now I'll get off my soapbox.
Oh,
Speaking of children and grandchildren, we're flattered that our grandchildren, one will be 30, one just turned 26, one just turned 22, and one is turning 20. They still enjoy us. We're not a burden to them, and that's fantastic. We Zoom with them, and one's in Seattle, one is in Chicago, but they made sure they called Pop-Pop yesterday, and I mean, it's great. Every Sunday with our 22-year-old grandson who just graduated UCF, he and Ron, they Zoom and they play guitar together. How cool.
no way.
Isn't that cool?
I love it.
Oh, wow.
It's cool.
We're buddies. We talk for a while. We come up with different things. He teaches me a little bit of his style. I teach him my style.
Isn't that the greatest?
And we love it.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to capture the third member of the family who's sitting on the dining room table right now. So if I can get her, I'll show her to you because she's my purpose too. I saved her. We rescued her. Hi, Missy. Hi.
So It's so important to keep contributing, because if you don't feel you have a purpose and you're contributing with something or offering something to someone or educating, you start questioning yourself, what's it all about? I mean, are you really just waiting around to meet the maker? I'm not ready to go to Rainbow Bridge until I'm empty. And when I'm empty, I'll be welcome to the Rainbow Bridge to see all my friends that are gone. But they're not ready for me yet, because if you're not empty, you got to hang around. Oh, here comes our friend. Hold on.
Oh.
Say hello. You see,
Oh.
Her name is Lizzie.
is she gorgeous? This is
Yeah.
amazing.
What kind of kitty?
This is a rag doll. She's a rag doll. Big blue eyes. Big girl. Big girl.
So sweet.
So she was owner surrendered by a mean lady. I don't know why she owner surrendered her. She's a gorgeous purebred cat. And we support a cat sanctuary here. So they had called her, and I said, I'll take her. So we went, we picked her up 24 hours later. She's been with us for 2 years now. She came to us just shortly after, just actually about 6 weeks after we lost our last cat. And she's been a joy, but she was not treated nicely. So when you talk about purpose, but it's taken me almost 2 years to get her psyche back.
To win her confidence.
To win her confidence. She was so afraid of towels and pillows and just everything. I had to really crawl into her head and figure it all out. But I did, and she's just a wonderful
And what
cat.
an accomplishment.
What a wonderful cat. She's just a big girl, and she's heavy.
So speaking of animals, Arlene, when did you first fall in love with animals in your life?
The day
I've never actually heard this story.
I was born, I think, that I used to bring home everything that I found, every stray cat, every this. I drove my parents crazy, but they let me do it, and I just always loved them. And then I started writing about them, and I produced a video on responsible pet ownership, and that went worldwide. And then I wrote a book on pet loss that Betty White did the foreword, and the book was nominated for a Dog Writers Association of America award. And people are losing pets all the time. So this book sells all over the world. My royalties last month were pretty big. I was shocked, really, I was shocked. So that's kind of where it is. I have written articles on human-animal bond. And
produced the video.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah. I did produce the video. And I've sat on big boards. I sat on Morris Animal Foundation board for over 20 years. I went on 1991. I elected to come off in 2005, and they invited and they elected me emeritus. They invited me back on. I went back on the board. No, I'm sorry, I went 91 to 2000. Went back on the board in 2005 and came off, actually with Betty White. I came off the same year she did in 2011, and I'm emeritus. So that was for animal health. They're 75 years old. And
so what is this foundation?
Morris Animal Foundation.
And what do they do?
They fund studies for all species, for all diseases, on all continents.
Wow.
Yeah, they're big. They're very big. They're the biggest in the world for what they do. So I was very flattered and proud and honored to sit on that board. And Betty White was on the board with me. Jack Hanna, he was on the advisory board. So we had wonderful, wonderful people, and I was just, dazzled to be working with them, truthfully. So, and then I've sat on a lot of other boards. I'm all finished with that now because, again, I'm not traveling. But I do my work quietly from home. And I will always speak for the animals that can't speak for themselves. So now I'm going to turn this over to my man
No,
here.
you're doing so great.
No, I'm all finished.
Love to hear all about it.
I'm done.
Actually, neither one of us have ever been without animals in our life ever since we were born.
Wow.
Yep, I've had pets starting at 4 years old, and I've never been without an animal since then. And Arlene is the same. And in our married life, we've always had fur under our feet and multiple animals. So
Yeah, we had 6 Yorkies at one time. That
You
was
had 6 and are living in one place.
yeah. Well, we had big property up north, and it all worked. And
Yep.
I had a dog nanny that would stay with them when I was traveling for Mars Animal Foundation. So they were always in their home being taken care of. They were never kenneled. And I showed Yorkshire Terriers for 35 years. I was one of those crazy people walking around the ring. Yeah.
and I was the crazy guy that supported her and drove her everywhere.
It was a wonderful time in our life.
Got to be smart, daring, and different.
So 11 of our fur babies are at Rainbow Bridge, and this beauty came to us, and I hope that I live long enough for her lifetime because she's relatively young.
Well, you have to.
So I have to. I have a purpose. I
Yeah.
have to live for
It's
her.
a purpose. Right?
Mm.
She's still a young chick, though.
I'm no young chick.
She looks good for 82 years old. Let
just
me
a
tell you.
chick.
Yeah. Are you guys sure you're not in your 60s? Let me see your birth certificates.
You could look at the wrinkles instead.
No wrinkles
and a
on
little
mine.
bit of gray hair somewhere here.
I still have blonde hair.
Ron, I use my credit card a lot.
Me
Well,
too. Yes.
when you invented that, did you have any idea of how it was spread around the world?
With a credit card, did you know how what it was going?
No, you know what? I never classified myself as an inventor. I always said I was an innovator. And the difference is I always look at things as I want to make things better. So how can I enhance it and make it better? And when I came across the credit card and they were using it just for making charge purchases, it was so slow because they had to put it in that little machine that would rub it on and make that receipt and so on. And then they had to look up to see if your number was an invalid credit number in a big long book that the credit card companies did every year. So what the company wanted me to do was, can they make it faster and take the burden off the wrong person, the merchant? And that was fairly easy because if I couldn't have done it myself as an engineer to figure it out, I would have hired somebody. But it was really very simple. And at that time, the reel-to-reel tape recorders came out. And I said, I could take the piece of plastic card that doesn't have any intelligence on it, just your name embossed and the number. And if I would take a little piece of that magnetic tape from the tape recorder, record your account number on it, and then paste that little piece on the back of the plastic card and build a little device that mimics the tape recorder and make you the motor. Slide it in. So all it really is a little miniature tape recorder on a piece of plastic that's just going to identify that card. So it solved the problem, and I was happy because I solved the problem of the client that came to me. I made it faster, and I took the burden off the wrong person. I had no idea at the time, Jason, it was going to affect billions of people. But I guess people started looking at it and saying, he enhanced something that exists and made it better. I didn't invent the credit card. I just enhanced it with the magnetic strip. So it's a philosophy of, what's the big deal? It was a good thing for the world. Same thing with real estate. It was just trying to help people who wanted to go from one place to another and have the realtor at the other place be ready with a property that they knew what I needed. And I didn't know it was going to affect millions and millions of people, but it worked. The one thing I'm not proud of is voice response. Back in the mid 60s, I figured, wouldn't it be a great idea, because that's when touch-tone phones came out, if somebody can call the bank when their modem and touch-tone in their account number, and then the bank would convert it from text to voice and play it back to you. And I figured, what a great idea. You know, I could sit in my house, touch-tone my account number in, and hear all about my banking information over the phone. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of listening to all that voice junk now. I mean, they abused it. But, you know, it's just constantly trying to make things better by enhancing them. And I say by being smart, daring, and different. When I say be smart, pay attention and learn and listen to everybody, because now you know what's needed. And then to be daring, well, that's pretty simple. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. You learn from mistakes. And I always said, if you painted something the wrong color the first time, paint it a different color. Only plan A. In other words, there's no other plan. It's plan A. You just have to keep painting it the right color until it comes out correct. And then the last thing that you learned from me was you have to be different. And what is different? It doesn't matter how you provide it and how you present it. It has to have a value and it has to provide benefit. And you are so different and so knowledgeable that when you speak, people have to listen because you're different with value and benefits. I told my story. There it is. That's part of it.
If your audience would like to read more about it, you're familiar with it, Jason.
Oh, yeah.
I did Ron's book. Whoops. I don't know whether you can see that.
Oh, here, I'll hold it up.
It's on Amazon.
The Grandfather of Possibilities.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
That was an interesting story, how I got that name. My first radio show was with a host that heard my story and said, I'd like to have you on the radio. And I was on his show. And then he and his wife said, we're going to be in New Orleans next week. How would you like to have dinner with us? And I said, thank you very much. I said, I'm in Florida, but I would love to hop on an airplane and come down to New Orleans and meet with you. I went down to New Orleans. We had dinner. And his lovely wife said to me, tell us a little about your background. In other words, were your parents inventors and was your mom inventors? I said, no, I came from a very plain family. My dad was a postal worker and my mom worked in a department store selling coats. But I said they were wonderful people. They were great parents. They gave me a good education. But I said my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, was very, very brilliant. He was a famous inventor. He invented the steam propulsion mechanism for steamships, for the big
No way.
Yeah, he invented the first torpedo detector for submarines during the First World War. He invented the pressing machine for tailors. I mean, he was a wonderful guy, and I always hung around him. He was my mentor. And the lovely wife of this radio show host said, boy, your grandfather had such great possibilities, and those possibilities, you picked them up by him being your mentor. And she said, you're like the grandfather of possibilities. And I said, what a wonderful title. That's my new title, the grandfather of possibilities. And that's how I picked it up.
Yeah.
So that's a good little story.
And the radio host, by the way, was the famous Willie Jolly. Do you know who that is?
No.
No. He wrote, he's an award-winning speaker, and he wrote, a setback is a setup for a comeback. That was his first book that he came out with. He was darling. He was just a delightful man. I think he still has a radio program. I don't know if he's on Sirius. I'm not quite sure where. But he has.
He's a
big radio.
Big radio show host. And then since then, many years back, I've been on the radio and television. I love to tell my story and inspire people, because you're never finished until you're empty. When you're empty, then it's a different story. But if you're not empty, you got to keep going. Age is strictly unimportant, because if you start having all these problems, you have to fit them in. Eyes and ears and hearing and neck problems and so on and so forth. You fit them in, and or get an oil change a little bit more frequently. Other than that, if you're not empty, you must keep going. The purpose is never to be a burden, be a contributor. Right?
Yeah, yes, never to be a burden, be a contributor.
Be a contributor.
And
So-
like what you do, and then you'll do what you like. Do you know Emily Latran? You know who that is? Dr. Latran?
I think so. The name sounds familiar.
Well, she and Dr. Bach Wynn, who is, I think he's cosmetic surgery perhaps, but has written 70 books. They joined together and they did a book called The Modern Woman, To Have It All with No Sacrifice. And Emily called me and she said, I'm doing a chapter, Perfect Wife, Perfect Boss, Perfect, the Awesome Wife. I'd like to interview you for the Awesome Wife. And I thought, well, okay. So I did that, and the book was released. And actually, this Friday it launches at her Action to Win.
Wow.
So I became
An author again.
So I became the Awesome Wife, and chapter 3, and I mean, I didn't make any big deal of it. And Dr. Bach, he just couldn't quite get what I was talking about, but I had it all. I had it all with no sacrifice, but I did it with balance. And I was like James Michener, it blurred together. Work was play, play was work. And he couldn't understand how I did it versus women of today who are trying to do it all at one time. And if they can, God bless them. I think they're fantastic. But I was raising my children in an era where you were mommy first. And I wanted to do that. I didn't want to cheat my children. I didn't want to cheat him. And I didn't want to really twist myself like a pretzel. So I raised the children. And after the children were raised, then I started showing dogs. Then I started writing. Then I started sitting on big boards. So I really did have it all. And I did it, I sound like Frank Sinatra. I did it my way. I did it my way. And for those women that are doing it their way and it works for them, I respect them. Hats off to them, because it's not an easy job. It really isn't. Each of these jobs, to me, was a full-time endeavor. I won't even call it a job.
No.
I loved all of it. And I wanted to be there for my children every step of the way and see my grandchildren born and be able to spend time with them when they were young. By the time that the grandchildren were born, I was already doing my thing. I truly was. But anyway, there's a plug for Emily's book.
But what was so beautiful about what Arlene did was, first of all, we got married young. I was 24 and Arlene was 19. And
first back up, how did you two meet?
One of his friends introduced us.
yeah, I played in a band. I was a musician. I played in a band at the time. And my saxophone player said, I know this cute little girl. She's really cute. You've got to date her. And so she came to one of my things, my gigs, and I asked her out, and she said, really neat. We went out. I think we went out for a pizza. She said, but I want to be home by 10 o'clock. I said, what? So okay. I took her home at 10 o'clock. I figured next time I take her out, it'll get better. I asked her out again, and she said, okay. We went out. I don't know. I think maybe we went out for another pizza or something, or we went to a college dance, and she said, I have to be home by 10:30. I figured.
I don't remember this.
I did. So I took her home, and then at the door, I gave her a little kiss goodnight, and I said, you know what? Maybe you better find somebody that can take you home early every night, but I would like to spend a little more time with you. So call me if you're interested. So I went home, and I think it was 2 days later, she called me. She said, "You want to go steady?" And that was when she was 18 and a half, or 18. And I was only 23. I had just come back from the Korean War. And a year later, guess what? We got married. It worked.
And now we're stuck.
So she was 19 and I was 24. And what we did, we had children at an early age, which was wonderful because we both learned how to be parents. Because
and tell everyone how many kids you have.
2, and our son will be 60 years old in 4 weeks.
Yep.
And our daughter is
57.
She'll be 58 in December.
58 in December. Yeah. But what was so great is we learned how to be parents and be good parents at a young age.
Well, and as good as we knew how to be.
And we were so young that after we were parents, we ended up being our children's friends because we grew up with them. So we did things with them. We were buddies with them. We were friends with them. And we had it all. It was really great. Then Arlene became the corporate wife.
But I left my legacy for my children and my grandchildren, which is the greatest gift to myself because they love animals. They're as crazy as I am.
Yes. They
are. And they all have rescue animals, our grandchildren, our daughter. And I just love it. I love it to pieces. They're saving lives. They're saving lives. And the grandchildren, they were wee tots. They were toddlers. And they were raised with my 6 dogs all around them and learned to love them and respect them. And now they all have their own pets.
The 30-year-old granddaughter would play in the playpen with one of the dogs. They would both be in the playpen together.
It's all in the book.
Yeah.
And I don't even know which book. I guess that's the
one
pet
of the
loss.
books.
Maybe it's the pet loss book.
Yeah, so somebody has to buy all the books so they can see
it. So what would you tell you? I mean, as a single parent, and as a single person, being a parent sounds like so much work. I mean, so good, but so much work. What would you tell young parents today who are having their first kid about parenthood?
First, I tell them to teach a little respect to them because some of them are awful.
Yeah.
Really. We just lost our...
It got a little dim. Is that at your end or my end?
I can see you still.
Yeah, we see you too. It just got a little darker.
I don't know why it got a little dimmer.
Go ahead.
All right. So what to tell parents today that are having children?
Yeah.
Enjoy them. Enjoy them and take the time to listen to them and you don't want to just be their friend. I mean, they need somebody to steer the ship. They do need somebody to set some guidelines because whether it's children or whether it's animals, they feel more secure when they know what direction they're supposed to go in. But listen to them and do hear what they have to say. Kids today are very bright, but I think that a lot of today's parents just let these kids run rampant and that the kids get away with too much. I just think that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
And I agree with you 100%.
That's where we are. And of course, our grandchildren they were raised by good parents. They're wonderful kids. They're wonderful kids, wonderful adults now, and they're responsible. Their values are good. And we're so proud of them. We really are. But it takes work. It takes a lot of work. You can't just go off and do your thing and say, grow up by yourself. No, I don't buy that.
That doesn't work.
I don't buy that.
They need supervision before you become their friend and their buddy. Jason, let me ask you something. Did the screen get darker at your end too, or just our end?
Just your end, but the reception is okay, and Bob says it's okay. Speaking of Bob from Seeker Knock, he says great folks right there. I love you guys.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. So, Jason, what are you up to these days? What are you doing?
Yep.
You're doing your podcast. Are you writing? Are you writing poetry?
Yeah, a little bit. I write poems and essays. The main thing I'm doing is trying to get the imperfect best concept out into the world. Do your imperfect best.
Everybody's imperfect. Who's perfect?
Me.
And so many people, including me in the past, got stuck wanting to live the perfect life, and when I couldn't live it, I just stopped. And that's no fun.
Perfect
no
people
fun.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, perfect people are boring because they're like cookie cutters. You want to have some kind of, you want to be different. If you're different, then you're interesting.
A lot of people think they're really perfect, and boy, are they imperfect. Not imperfect like you're imperfect, just not nice at all. This, have a little kindness. But so there's some that think they're perfect, and then there's a lot that try to be perfect. I probably was one of those people. I'm a type A personality. As I've aged, it's just too tiring. It's easy just to, my daughter says, be a duck, let it roll off your back. And that's better. It is better.
Arlene, how did you come to the point of letting stuff fall off your back instead of taking it on?
Because my blood pressure went up.
Because she lives with me.
No, I mean, I just figured, you know what? It's affecting my health, and I really do have to lighten up a little bit. It's not so terribly important that everything get done at the same time. It's impossible. It's taxing.
You have to learn patience.
It's wearing. Here, this is the second time that a storm has impacted us, and I'm far more relaxed this time than I was the first time, because at this point I'm saying, well, if they fix it, that's a blessing, and if they don't,
we'll move.
Then, well, there's a gift behind the challenge. It's time to maybe move on to somewhere else, which would be to Orlando, where our children are. But not to be with them, but to be in the same city. So I'm starting to feel that things happen for reasons, and I'm just more relaxed with it. Well, not that I'm liking what's going on, but I'm handling it better this time. I'm not getting crazy.
And that's the reason we're still here at this older age. We're here for a reason. Okay? So if God spared us this long, we have a purpose. And we can't be worrying about the little everyday problems, because if it's not one problem, it'll be another problem. And you just have to fit it in. I was going to say, one of the greatest things about being 86 years old and 82 is you can say,
I'm not there yet.
Well, but let me tell you why it's so great about being 86.
Don't make me older faster.
You can say anything you want. You don't have to apologize.
Oh, yes, you do. I tell them that all the time. Be nice.
You can say anything you want, and you don't have to worry if it comes out right.
Well, Ron, when you did your work, was it all a perfect process, like creating new stuff? Did you just come up with an idea and half an hour later, voila!
No, it's just,
it was the big explosion.
I kept painting in the right color, the correct color, until it comes out right. When I know the color is right, that's it. Because there's only plan A, and plan A doesn't come together until you paint it the right color. So I make a lot of mistakes, and I learn so much from those mistakes. In fact, I'm the professor of mistakes, but I learn a lot from them. I never make the same mistake twice, but I make a lot of mistakes. It's good. It works. It's part of the education.
Jason, you like this old age philosophy? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I find it very inspiring because I realize I'm growing older too, and I want to be like Arlene and Ron when I get to be in my 80s.
You're still a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But remember, you've got to be different. Don't ever leave that. You know, to be different is what? Quote it. Value and benefit. If you're not different and you do things, what are they? Nothing but a hobby. You don't have time for hobbies, right?
Oh, he probably has some. You have hobbies, don't you?
Oh, of
Podcast.
course.
What do you do in your spare time? Do you like to play golf? Do you like to do all those things?
I play bingo. No. So I'll tell you, I love my current passion is driving to small towns where I've never been and taking photographs
That's
of
good.
just interesting things. And I love it because so much of we think about New York City and in Las Vegas and San Francisco, but there's so many little places that very few people see. It's
Have you gone up to Washington State? Washington,
not through the small towns.
because I just read an article and I just sent it to my granddaughter, but of course they've been there already. They moved out, she and her boyfriend moved out to Seattle just a week before the pandemic hit, January 2020.
Gosh,
Yeah,
what a time to move. Oh my gosh.
but they're great. They're fine. They're doing great. And on the weekends, they go hiking and camping, and it is
It's
so
beautiful.
beautiful. And she
Just beautiful.
does photography, so she sends it all to us. And I saw an article about the small towns outside of Seattle. It's gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Might be something you'd want to do. at
That
some
whole
point.
country is
Beautiful,
magnificent.
so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, there are. You're right. There's lots of wonderful places to see.
Before you moved to Florida, you lived in New York State, right?
No,
No.
in New Jersey.
Scratch that New York State
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Well, he
That's
was in
totally
New York.
wrong. Don't
Yeah,
quote me on that.
he
You
was
lived in
doing
New
a lot of
Jersey.
work in
Yeah,
New York with the
I
stock
worked
exchange.
most of my career in New York at the stock exchange, on Wall Street, you know, everything I had developed for the financial industry. So I was there for, I would say 40 years, back and forth.
We lived in a beautiful Quaker town, a small Quaker town. We were
Wow.
in Moorestown, New Jersey, which was not far from Philadelphia, Haddonfield. What else was there? Cherry Hill.
Cherry Hill, yeah.
So how far from New York were you?
2 hours.
2 hours, and I would
Oh,
commute
nice.
Yeah, he commuted. He
every
commuted
day.
every day.
I would drive.
4 hours a day? Dude, that's a lot of driving.
It was. But it was closer than for people that lived in Long Island.
Yeah, and
They
an
took
easier
them
drive.
longer.
It was all turnpike driving.
But it was, the town was gorgeous. It was so beautiful. Oh, your battery's running low. Geez.
Oh,
Wait a minute. We're going to plug in here. What's going on? Are you there?
hold on,
Yeah.
something's wrong
Wait
with
a
my
minute.
battery.
We're unplugged or something. Hang on. It just said your battery is running low.
How big was Morristown when you lived there?
How this town itself?
Eh,
I don't remember what the population was. I don't remember. It was small. It was typical small town.
Nice.
And we had a 6,000 square foot house there, and then we had seashore property, which was lovely, which was about an hour away.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you have a house on the seashore too?
Now,
I mean, back then on the.
yes, we had a house at the seashore, and when we moved here full time, and then we had property down here, a winter property, a condo. But when we moved down here full time, We just gave everything up. Gave everything up. It says battery low again, Ronnie. There we go. Okay. So yeah,
Okay.
it's been interesting. I mean, this is coming down from 6,000 square feet.
Oops. Oh man.
Down to 2,600, and now we're like 1,450. So, but it all works. It all works.
Oh, so do you have any tips on consolidating?
Any tips on why?
On like how do you consolidate your stuff?
Oh, we sold a lot. We sold a lot of stuff and gave away a lot of stuff, donated a lot. And it all works. It all works. You know, you keep what you absolutely love and what you need. And it's stuff. After a while, it's just stuff. It's all it is.
It's not working.
We're having a problem here with a connection.
1 second.
Can you still hear us?
Yeah.
My battery's running dead. Apparently the electricity's not working on the computer.
We can end if you need to.
Hang on. What's your net, Ronnie? I don't know what's happening here. His connection is not working, and it's saying his battery is running low. Hang
Excuse
on.
me.
What's your net?
I don't know why it's doing it.
Trying to find another connection. Hold on. How about if you move around here into this one?
That's where I had it. You keep talking to.
We're sorry. I don't know what's going on here.
But this is so what life is. Life presents
That's right.
challenges, and
Murphy's Law.
we get to figure them out, right?
Murphy's Law. Oh, well. You do the best you can do with it. We're lucky we didn't lose complete power here from the storm. And I don't know if that has something to do with this or not. I don't know. Try this. Hang on. What if you move it? Okay, we're coming back a little bit. How's that? We're back. Okay. Can you sit down and I'll kick that now? Either. Hang on.
Well, we got a few more minutes. Hopefully we won't lose it until we can get this back.
Okay.
It might pop off.
We're sorry. Apologize.
Yeah, it just happens. I mean,
viewers.
That's what we call fitting it in.
So what, any last words for my viewers, like last wisdom you want to share with people?
Well, you first, Laura.
What could I share with people? Be grateful. Be grateful. Be grateful for a roof over your head, and be grateful for every day you get up and take one step and put it in front of the other. And don't bellyache about silly things, and do the best you can, because life is short. It's challenging, but I do believe that there's gifts behind the challenges. And I think when things happen, I don't know why at the time, but obviously there's a reason. And when you get God winks, when these little miracles come along that you're not even expecting, just be super grateful and realize how blessed you are. How blessed you are. And be grateful for the good people in your life. And what else can I say?
I think we better talk fast before the power goes. What I would like to say is keep things very simple so they're easy to understand. And also have a mindset where there is no such thing as a problem. No problem in the world, no problem with individuals. There's only situations. And if it's not a problem and it's a situation, sometimes the situation can be turned into a challenge. And then, like Arlene said, there's a gift behind every challenge. So if it's not a challenge, it'll just be a situation that has to be worked at. Problems are frustrations, do away with them. Anybody that has an old-time dictionary with that chapter in there saying problems, tear that page out and highlight the page that says challenge and opportunity. But simplify everything and life will come to be a bowl of cherries.
Beautiful, beautiful, both of you. Thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you.
sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Jason.
You are an
Love.
inspiration.
Your love.
You
Remember,
both are too. Thank you.
to be different is to be blessed.
To be different is to be blessed. On that beautiful note,
So write a poem.
Right about.
have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Now I got to figure out how do I disconnect.
There should be a leave the studio.
Oh, I see it. A little red dot.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Yeah,
Okay.
you too. Thanks. Wow. Oh. So lucky to talk to Ron and Arlene. Aren't they amazing? Cool. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week for another awkwardly awesome podcast.